Topics may be controversial. Ongoing research confirms our positions. Do your own due diligence, understand the concepts, and arrive at your own conclusions. Please feel free to reflect your considerations and opinions in the comments section. Taxation is theft because income is taken from people without their approval in the name of safety or security from threats, whether real or imaginary. And to a large extent, these funds are funneled to government, which in turn misuse them by enriching themselves via various schemes and provide inefficient services like legal systems, administration, police, inefficient housing projects, etc. Also, the majority of these schemes provided by the taxed money have zero benefit to the people who are taxed. How is this different from a thievery? In this case, no one can go to the police and try to recover their wasted taxes. The only reason one cannot sue the government in most cases is because it can either put you in jail or kill you. Governments in such countries always try to tax the wealthier, more productive sections, but over time these sections will leave the country for better tax regimes. Here are some of the ways governments misuse taxed money. Free loan schemes for farmers. In certain Indian states, farmers get free electricity, loans, and grant money just for farming their land. Due to this, farmers become inefficient, and moreover, government buys their products without price discovery, creating artificial price inflation. The burden of producing electricity, loan money, etc., is imposed on the private sectors. Why does government feel they have the authority to take money from one group and provide a free service to another group where there is no benefit to the party being taxed? This is mainly just pandering to get votes from the parties supposedly being benefited. Public health and educational institutions. It is proven that 99% of all public institutions provide very low quality services, whether its focus is health, law, or education, because there is no and there cannot be competition between parties providing the service. They simply settle into a pattern of providing the lowest quality service that can be tolerated. These institutions may have been created for idealistic reasons, but over time, the key reason these institutions remain is because they form a huge vote bank to the elected government officials. Grants to minorities, scheduled castes, or tribes. In India, land grants and money are given to various minority populations from the government just because they are poor or otherwise disadvantaged. Due to this, productive people are unfairly taxed, and these minority groups do not perceive that they are getting a benefit at the expense of other people, and so they lack gratitude. After some generations, they feel it's their birthright to have these benefits, and any party which denies these benefits tends to be voted out of office. Other welfare schemes. There are other welfare schemes such as grants for single mothers, free medical supplies, privileges, and perks to the government employees, welfare programs for blacks, free rations for poor people, etc., which may start well but become detrimental to societies. Even though these are done with good intentions, they eventually produce detrimental effects. In America, for instance, welfare money granted only to single mothers led to generations of fatherless children, because if there was a dad, there was no free money. The assumed benefits, instead of improving their situation, created a worsening situation with ever more cries for further assistance from society to get more grants. Military spending. Government not only steals money from its citizens, but it also engages in unwanted wars with other countries, because collected tax can go to weapons manufacturers with sufficient tension between nations, ending in imposing new tax rules on other countries. This way, government controls other sovereign nations instead of building relationships. The citizens are always brainwashed that such actions are taken in the name of patriotism, safety, and security, But the main aim of most of these actions are to enrich politicians and companies that produce weapons. Some of the questions society needs to ask their leaders are: why am I paying taxes? Is it providing direct benefit to me as an individual? Do other people receiving the benefits of taxes at the expense of others realize it? And do they appreciate the gifts they are receiving? Are leaders being good or bad, reducing corruption when they increase or reduce taxation? Why are people who are taxed more stressed and have fewer children and less happy lives than people who are not taxed or are less taxed? Aren't the people who are taxed paying higher prices for goods and services than people who are not paying taxes? Due to favoring different sections like farmers, scheduled castes or tribes, minorities, blacks, etc., is there a population explosion among the poor because of these benefits? Do groups receiving the benefit of free money become less able to care for themselves and more likely to agitate for more of such schemes? How many people would actually volunteer to pay these taxes if given a choice? If you honestly answer these questions, one can see that taxation is not only theft, but also often creates new problems. People who pay taxes completely rely on the government to provide everything in exchange, rather than have a feeling that it's their duty. Sooner or later, the most productive people leave the country, structure their income to avoid taxation altogether, or stop taking risks by starting small businesses. One has to realize that the only way to stop government corruption is to starve the beast by controlling funding. The creation of a better society rests on the shoulders of people helping each other rather than demanding government take money from a productive group to give it away to another less productive group. Even if government has good intentions, what empowers these transfer payments when society does not want it? Solution? The only way to solve taxation problems is to reduce taxation to the bare minimum, limited to absolutely necessary items, and encourage people to solve their problems themselves through their own thoughts and actions. Reduction of taxes. To enable lower taxes on the people, let the country earn money by imposing taxes on imported or exported goods. This makes sense because external goods and services are competing with regional markets, so it's unfair for these regions. One can fix this rate between 10 to 30% since taxes collected are much less, and this revenue is reserved to build crucial elements of government like defense, police, courts, national highways, other main roads, premier educational institutions, railways, and dams. And also, because of lower funding levels, the above systems will be forced to apply thought to come up with ways to become more efficient. In this manner, one can eliminate public sector institutions like hospitals, schools, etc., and purge corruption and inefficient people in these sectors. This low level of efficiency is especially seen in India and other countries where public sector professionals are highly unproductive, and the only reason they're in their jobs is because they're not fired, or they get lots of perks so they stay there and vote for parties favoring them. Everything would become privatized by local small enterprises which compete against each other to drive the prices down. Local street roads are maintained by the people living in the area, since they're the people most commonly using these roads. Everything is localized so that other communities are not affected. Maintaining local areas. Maintaining local roads in municipalities should be done by the people in the area, and the normal standard of quality should be defined by government. Since local people use their areas more than other remote people, it lies then the responsibility of those people to take care of their surroundings. No property taxes. There's no need to have property taxes, as it's the citizens' right to own property, and there's no need of government intrusion into people's privacy. No inheritance taxes. Again, there's no need of taxes if people can inherit money from others, whether friend or family. No GST or VAT taxes. State or central governments should not in any way, shape, or form impose these service taxes. Voluntary taxation. In situations where local areas or even at national levels money becomes needed, then a voluntary way of collecting taxes should be maintained so that people can contribute funds for that cause. Only through voluntary services and taxation can people realize their duty to improve their society and nation as a whole.